So this video here is for people with a flow error, and when it says rinse your filters and check your water level and you do that and none of them clear the error, and then it says call for service. When you call your service technician, these are the tests that he's going to do on your spa. So if you're confident enough with a voltmeter and live electricity, you can do this yourself. But be very careful because you can get hurt if you don't know what you're doing. So when it comes to a flow error, it can be a few things. It can be the circulation pump is not running properly or not running at all. It could be that the fuse is blown on the PC board for your circulation pump. It could be that your flow switch is not working properly. It also could just be your PC board, this whole green thing in here, is bad. So here are a few tests to try to figure out which one of these it is. Majority of the times, it's a flow switch or the circulation pump. Sometimes it's the fuse, rarely it's the board, but it does happen. So the first thing we're going to do is, it depends on what the situation is. So if your circulation pump is not running, so you put your hand on it, it's not vibrating, no water's coming out where the hot water and bubbles usually come out of the footwell of the spa, this is the first thing you're going to do. So keep in mind there's 230 volts coming to this normally, obviously not here, but in your real situation. So this fuse in the middle of the two bigger fuses is for your circulation pump. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set your meter to check voltage. So I have a fancier one. It just has a V with a squiggly line over it. That's what I set mine to. Some of you might have an option where you have to set it to a number. If you do anything 250 or more volts. But anyway, to check the fuse, if you only have the voltage setting on your meter, you are going to touch the top of the fuse with one probe and the bottom of the fuse with the other. Now with voltage, if the fuse is good, it will read 0 volts. If the fuse is bad, it will say 120 volts. So if the fuse is bad, buy a new fuse, put it in. Most likely you're off to the races. Now, if the fuse is good, then we're going to have to check power to your pump, your circulation pump. So what you do is you find your pump, you follow where the cord plugs into the bottom of the box, and it plugs in right here. There's a label in here, but the lighting's off, so you can't see it in the screen right now. But find the one that says circ pump. Then you're going to follow the black wire. It's going to go up to a spot here that says P36. And the white wire, you're going to follow that. Depending on what pump you have, it will be in one of two locations. If you have a 120 volt circulation pump, it will be on P41. If you have a 250 volt pump, it will be on P54, which is down here. So just follow the two wires to where they hook up to the board. Then you're going to take your meter, you're going to set it to the voltage, and you're going to carefully put one probe on whether it's P41 or P54, put one probe on the white wire, one on the black. You're going to see what your voltage reads. If you have a 120 volt pump and it reads 120, or if you have a 230 volt pump and it reads 230 on the meter, your circulation pump is bad because the PC board is sending the correct voltage to your pump. Now, that's figuring out whether your pump is good or bad. In the other instance, say your pump is running. It's either running consistently or it's cycling on and off. You know, run for 8 seconds, shut off for 8 seconds. Just does that over and over again. In that case, it could be your actual flow switch that's the problem. So, in some cases, if the circulation pump is cycling on and off, with the power on, you are carefully going to unplug the flow switch. So, this is your flow switch. It connects to P10 down here. If you want to, you can flip your metal door over, and there's usually a schematic on the back, and you could find them on here first. So I highlighted in green, it says P10, it says flow right next to it. That's your flow switch. And then I did these two, P41 and P54, but you could find it on your own diagram first before you locate it on the actual PC board. So, your pump's running, it's either cycling or it's running perfectly fine and you still have an error code. In this case, if it is cycling, you carefully unplug, let me try to do this for you, unplug the flow sensor connector from the PC board. If your pump was cycling and now the pump's running consistently, your flow switch is bad because your flow switch is causing it to cycle like that. However, if your circulation pump is running consistently, no problems, you are still going to unplug your flow switch carefully from P10, and you could do one of two things. You can take a flathead screwdriver and literally bridge the two pins on the PC board with it. You don't need to push hard, you just want the two pins to touch the flathead at the same time. Now when you do this, if you hear a click, that is your heater turning on and the error code goes away on the screen. That is telling you that your flow switch is the problem. Now, sometimes people get scared, they don't want to stick a screwdriver on a live PC board. So it's low voltage, it's not going to get you, but if you touch something else, it will. So what you could do, this is a tech tip, this is what we do out in the field, is if you notice you have 8 little tabs here, these are jumpers. The very bottom tab, number 8, does nothing for anybody's spot. So if you have that tab, you could steal it. Needle nose pliers help the most, so you're not sticking your fingers in there. And the jumper fits perfectly over those 2 tabs, so you could put it in there, let go, and not worry about getting shocked or anything. Then you could actually stand up and look at the screen to see if the error cleared without having a screwdriver down here while you get up and look at it. So that's that. That is flow switch. So, if your circ pump runs fine, you bypass the flow switch and the error still remains there, your PC board is bad because bypassing the flow switch with the pump running, it should automatically clear the message. So that's case number 1 for a bad board. Also, if your flow switch is good and your board is not giving the circ pump the correct voltage, then the PC board is bad. If you have that scenario, call Easy Spa Parts. There is a trick that works on some spas where you can move this wire from here to a different spot. And if that spot is giving the voltage like it normally would, you could keep from having to buy a new PC board. So call Easy Spa Parts if you have that scenario. So yeah, just to go over it again, if your fuse is bad, it's not going to have continuity, which some people's meters have the ability to check this, but if you know what you're doing, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't have that, then just do the voltage test on it. So, if it reads 120 volts across the top and bottom of the fuse is bad, replace the fuse. If the fuse is good and your circulation pump is getting proper voltage, but your pump is not running, your circulation pump is bad. Now your flow switch, if the error clears when you bypass the flow switch, your flow switch is bad. PC board, if you bypass the flow switch and the error does not clear, your PC board is bad. And 2, if the board is not giving the circulation pump the correct power, your PC board is also bad. So this is generally what they're going to do when they troubleshoot your hot tub. So if, for instance, your circulation pump is running a little bit, it's running but the water coming out of the port, you could barely feel it. It may be that your pump is clogged or the plumbing lines for the circulation pump may have some blockage in it. There is something you can do to try to clear that because your pump still might be okay. If that's the case, call Easy Spa Parts and ask them to send you steps 4, 5, and 6. And there's a procedure you could do to a couple different things, but ask for that so you could get the email and kind of really understand what that entails. But yeah, do this test. If you watch the video but feel a little too uncomfortable and don't want to do this without being on the phone with someone, call Easy Spa Parts also, because they will literally do this test with you over the phone. But watching this video helps you understand what it is you're actually doing.